Hello everyone and welcome to my Zammy guide. Really excited about this one because it's like my favourite boss to do in the game, and I really want to attract more ZERKS into doing it because it's actually not that bad doing it solo. You're able to get 3 to 6 kills. 6 is quite rare, but you can get them here and there. But you're mainly looking at 3 to 4 kills. Also, don't go to Zammy if you're not on task. Even if you're a main, there's no point really going there. If you're off task, you might as well just wait till you get great demons. Extend them if you enjoy doing them like I do. The technique you use to kill the boss isn't any different. It's just the gear and the inventory for the ZERKS. So if you still a main and you want to watch this, it'll be completely fine. It's just the inventory and gear won't be catered towards you. Getting into the stats and requirements. Since it's a ZERKS, obviously just ZERKS build, but with the range, I would say 90 to 99 will be fine. Obviously, you're using a blowpipe the whole time you're there, so you want to have high range. And you need at least 70 HP to enter the Zammy part of the Good Walls dungeon, but I expect you to have that if you're going to go and do fucking Zammy. This is quite a hard method to learn at first, so any previous experience with other bosses would be great, especially ones where you have to change prayers like Gorillas or Zora or anything like that. Because, yeah, jumping into this if you're not that good at like bossing already is going to be quite hard. So definitely, if you're like that, watch this guide a shitload of times before actually trying it. I'd say like just memorize it and then try just to understand exactly what I'm saying. If there's bits you don't understand, then you probably don't want to go in there. As for the infantry setup, you will need 1 range pot, 1 antidote plus, 2 prayer pots, 3 restores, 2 brews, 4 crown ones, and the rest manta rays. I also bring adamant darts with me because I use rune darts actually at Zammy itself, but when I get kill count I don't want to waste any rune darts because they're quite expensive, so I don't mind wasting one spot, but you could just not take them and just use rune darts the whole time. That's up to you. But yeah, so that's all you need in there. Also, you can either bring Trollheim teleports, 2 of them, or if you don't want to, you know, go Nightmare Zone and do all that long shit, you could just use the normal spellbook and bring a rune pouch with lava runes, air runes, and lore runes, and then that will give you the teleport to your house and Trollheim. Here is the setup that I take to Zammy. Obviously, got the Slayer helm on. Only be doing it if you're on a Slayer task. Either Assembler or just get the Accumulator. Don't really matter too much, but obviously this has like double, well, exactly double the bonuses. But yeah, Fury, definitely want that. I wouldn't take Anguish unless you're just going for like, just want to get quick kills, and then yeah, maybe learn it with Fury first. But I think Fury is good to have for prayer and the defense. Blowpipe, bring a blessing if you want to. Again, doesn't really matter too much. Zamorak and Saradomin just to go in through getting kill count, and then Bando's gloves, Ranger boots or blessed boots or snakeskin if you really want to, and then Archer's ring. But then you can swap that out for Suffering and even this for 99 range cape, your assembler if you have one. So yeah, that's the setup that I take, and you can take a Dragon Warhammer with you too, but I don't bother doing that because I'm 60 attack, so I'm not going to hit too often, and it might just keep fucking up my my rotation. As for getting kill count, this is the fastest way, is just by killing the imps, the ice fiends, and basically any monster that's in a Zamorak realm kind of thing, if they're on low health. If not, then just hop wells and just kill the ice fiends and the imps. There'll be one here, the imp spawns around here, and imp spawns like around here, and then ice fiends both basically in the same spot too. So you basically can get 4 kills a world, plus if there's any werewolves or goraks or hellhounds or anything of the Zamorak vampires, if they're on low health, give them a few shots and then that will work too. Then just before you go in, I come up here, I drop 2 items because I normally have a full inventory, take off my blowpipe, unload it, put the rune darts in, and then I just, and I put my blowpipe and then click on the manta rays, and then you're already clicking on the bit you need to next because you're clicking on the manta rays. It doesn't, there's no point in doing that, but it just reminds me to switch my darts every time. So in here, I should have brought some stamina, but oh well, because I'm not even going to a trip right now. As you can tell, I've only got fucking manta rays with me. 2 imps here, 1, 2 in this area, and then you come up here, and there's another 2. 1 there and 1 there, and they basically all spawn where they're standing, so you can see that. So let's say you die, all you need to do when you come back is you will have your items that you obviously don't lose, but right now I've got nothing, so like the accumulator and all that shit. And then you come in here, all you have to get is these 2, and then you can take a stamina 2 just to speed up the KC process, because obviously you have to walk. But yeah, these are the only 2 that you need. Just throw on them, and then you have your other items with you, and you can just run back, fill up your inventory with some food and whatever, because you can just do another trip straight after and then just pick up your food whilst it's on the floor until they get the new update for the death thing. But until then, yeah, you just come to your bank after you die, get out these 2 items, and then put on your other stuff that you have in your inventory, and then run back and basically get 2 trips in one rather than wasting just coming back for 1 trip. Or you can get ecumenical keys too. If you can't bother to do that, you can just get ecumenical keys, get 3 before you start doing zammy, and then after they run out you can just get another 3 again. And what the hell, is that a disease poison splat? Did they actually change that shit? So let's get into how zammy works and how we can combat this method. The main thing to know about zammy is that Kirill, the boss, attacks 1 tick slower than the minions themselves, so every rotation of flicks on the minions, the boss will move forward 1 attack each time. But I'll get into that in a second. Let's first get into how to set up the minions themselves. We will start with the method used when you first enter the room and how to set them up, because it's different from actually when you do your second kill and from them onwards basically. When you get to the door, you'll have to wait for the Black Demon to get 1 tick off of the south wall, otherwise he won't attack on the same tick as the Ranger, and that's what you want for when you first enter. As soon as I come through the door, I start going up to the Ranger, and I get until when I'm 1 step away from him. It's okay to take a few hits until you're right near him and you're prepared to do the next step. When you get close to the Ranger, the one who looks like he's throwing snowballs, you then need to get ready to run under him 2 ticks before they attack. At first it could be hard to judge, but after a while you just do it subconsciously. As soon as you see yourself run underneath him, you need to wait until you see your player move, and then that's when you click out, and then you need to wait until your player moves from underneath him, and then that's when you can click on zammy, because if you do it too quickly, you won't go underneath the Ranger, and if you do it too quickly on the way out, you won't move from underneath the Ranger because you'll be attacking the boss. As you can see, I wait until I move underneath him. As soon as I start moving, I click out, and then as soon as I see myself moving from out underneath him, that's when I click on zammy. I'll play it one more time so you can get it into your head. When you first start learning zammy, I wouldn't recommend paying attention to the melee until maybe you've done like 50 to 100 kills, because he does do a bit of damage, but it does make things a bit harder trying to tick up the melee as well. So I'd say just concentrate on getting a Major and Ranger to be 1 tick apart, Major being first, just because it's easier to flick. But yeah, eventually you'll learn how to tick up the melee. I'll show you later on, because you'll do it not on the first kill like you can do, but I just wait till the second kill and you can do it at the start of that. But let's just get into how to add zammy into the mix. Like I said earlier, Kirill attacks 1 tick slower than the minions. So let's say they were lined up perfectly and it was Major, Ranger, melee and zammy on the same tick, since they both use melee. Then the next rotation would be Major, Ranger, melee, zammy, then 1 tick, then the Major comes in, and then the one after that will be Major, Ranger, melee, nothing, zammy, and then the one after that will be Major, Ranger, melee, nothing, nothing, then zammy and Major on the same hit. So we need to combat this and make zammy re-tick himself into the cycle. Always use protect melee when you're fighting Kirill, even though he can attack you through prayer and drain your prayer points too. He can also hit with Mage up to 30, but he'll use just his melee attack mainly. How to get Kirill into the right rotation of where he attacks you 3 times on the right prayer until you need to reset him into that tick cycle is to do what you've done with the Ranger basically, by running underneath him and delaying his attack, but you'll be standing underneath him for a bit longer, but I'll show you how this works. When you're finishing the last cycle before Kirill gets on the same tick as the Major, you need to get ready to run underneath him. As you can see, I'm finishing off the last cycle, so it's Mage, Range, melee, 2 ticks of no attacks, and then I need to get underneath him. So that's when I run underneath zammy. When I see my player run underneath zammy, I throw up Pray Mage and wait for the Major to attack me, as you can see here. And then as soon as he does, I switch to Pray Range, click on Kirill and Pray Melee, and then he'll attack you at the same time as the melee, and then you're back into rotation. At first, it can be scary clicking on the boss and then praying melee, because if you miss it, then you're obviously going to get hit by both of them. But eventually, it won't seem as hard as it is. It's just basically as soon as you press Pray Range, click on the boss straight away, and then straight back down to melee, and it will be done perfectly. And then you get another 3 attack cycles, and then you repeat it again. You can also re-tick Kirill by walking 4 squares away from him. So this is the last cycle. Mage, Range, melee. I click away 4 squares, Mage, Range, click on zammy, melee, and is exactly the same as the other method basically, apart from you just walking away. So yeah, you can do that one too, but I think I learned that one after, like a while after, because I just got used to the other one. But now I do both, depending on where the Ranger minion is. If the boss is close to the Ranger, then I want to do a few walkaways to like pull him away, because I could end up standing underneath the Ranger and they get unticked. You can also reposition your place on Kirill by clicking further up him. So as you can see here, I right click a bit further behind him, so that means as soon as I attack him, I'll run the opposite side of him, and this can also pull you away from the Ranger. First, you need to position yourself on this exact square. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it from close up. You'll be standing 5 squares south from the north wall and 3 squares south from the west wall. Then you have to wait until Kirill spawns, and then when you see him, you have to wait until the ranger spawns, and then he should spawn underneath you, and you click out straight away as soon as he spawns, and that will set him up how we did in the first room, which is basically putting a major 1 tick in front of the ranger. The ranger can also spawn in like 2 or 3 other spots, so if that happens, all you have to do is do the same method you did when you first entered the room, which is retick him by standing underneath the ranger, because if he doesn't spawn underneath you, he'll be attacking at the same time as the major. Even if one of them spawns later, they'll still attack in the right sequence. So here's one of the examples. You can see the ranger spawns 1 tile to the north of me, so now I need to wait like I did before. You could take a few hits like I said also before, and then you just run underneath him, and then look, they're ticked up and all is good. The ranger can also retick himself, but I wouldn't count on this, but yeah, here's an example of it happening. So sometimes luck can be on your side. As the minions spawn, get ready to run out like I said, throw up your quick prez. As soon as you run out, you need to run underneath Zammy so you can tick him up like you do when he clashes with the major, and then you just wait for it, do the flicks, and then you can just carry on as per usual. So let's say it one more time, a bit slower. They spawn, I run straight away, I quickly run underneath Zammy so I can retick it. So I throw up my prey mage, prey range, click on Zammy, prey melee, and then pow, and luckily the melee was ticked into that, but he was attacking on the 4th tick, which doesn't matter because I'll still be putting up my melee prayer on the 3rd tick anyway. If you somehow mess up and the ranger attacks 1 tick before the major, it doesn't matter at all. It's just exactly the same method, apart from you have to click from range to mage to melee, which is a bit harder because you have to go from middle, left, then all the way to right, but once you get used to it, then it just becomes exactly the same. So when it comes to ticking up the melee with the other minions, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do it when you enter the room, and all you have to do is just run towards the melee so he hits on the 3rd tick. That could be hard to judge as well, but after a while you get it. Here you can see again, I run under the ranger to tick him up, and then I run towards where the melee is going to be, and then he can hit me right then, and it's perfectly set up. You also use the exact same method at the start of the kill. After you've done the entry one, you just run towards the melee. If you can tell he's going to be off tick, and then he'll line up. But then I'll show you another way, which I normally do, which isn't ticking him straight away, but ticking him whilst you run underneath Zammy, so you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Another way to tick in the melee is to wait until he's standing underneath Zammy like this, which happens pretty often. And all you have to do is run underneath Zammy, basically where the minion is standing, and then this will allow you to come out and you'll be reticked on both of them. If the melee is off tick when Zammy dies, you can reset him the way you done it with the ranger. You just run underneath him 2 ticks before the ranger attacks you, click on him, and then click prey melee as soon as you come out, and he'll be in that 3 tick cycle of the perfect flicks. If you want to do it the way which I said earlier, where you click on, you prey melee before you click on the minion, if you're scared of getting hit, then you can do that, and he'll be 2 ticks after the ranger. So all you have to do is prey mage, prey range, and then do 2 flicks on the melee prayer, but I'll show you that now. So you can see the melee is attacking me 2 ticks after the ranger, so it's mage, range, 2 flicks on the melee, and then you're set up there. And if the melee is on the last tick, all you have to do is go melee to mage to range, and you're good. So that's all the ways to do that, and that's basically the end of the guide. So I hope this helped you learn it. I don't know if it made much sense to everyone. I explained it the best way I can, but it's one of them ones which is a bit of a bitch to explain. But yeah, I hope you get a shitload of spears. I got quite a lot. I got quite lucky at the beginning, so I hope you get that. They're 10 mil a pop, and they're pretty common for, you know, how much they're worth. So go and get your spears, get some peas, and let me know how you get on.